like hear everybody at lunch and how loud y'all can be. So then when we ask questions, we look at each other. All right, so your mid assessment for your plus for this class was an 81.2, and the final end assessment was an 86.4. So that's much better than that.
What is the big? Much better than that.
So that will actually be going out today. I got to update because we have all the data. Everybody actually did, and so you guys are coming off of geometry, and then my first and second period are coming off of ratios and the introduction of unit rate. And theirs were, I mean, it was pretty good too. Like their mid assessments were 84.5 and an 83.7. And then their end assessments were an 86.4 and an 86. So ratios are, it's gonna be quick, it's gonna be fast, and it's not, like I said, 12 days max is how much we're gonna actually spend on ratios, unit rate, and percents. And the reason that is, for one, we're not gonna do a whole lot of open up lessons just because open up is very redundant when it comes to ratios and unit rate and percents, and there's really good lessons, but we don't need 15 really good lessons of the exact same thing. Y'all are gonna pick up very quickly. I mean, your average on the benchmark was a 72%, and there was a decent amount of ratio questions already on. So you've already been exposed to it. Just not in the depth that we're gonna go into. So today, you're gonna do you're gonna do a foldable, you're gonna do a cool down, and you're gonna do practice problems. And that's what today is. It's not gonna be like extensive. The more we practice ratios and unit rates and percents, the better you're gonna get. I mean, that's what it comes down to. And this is where first and second period are. This is where you guys will be in about 3 days. All right, it's taken them 5? Well, they all had unit rate in unit 2, so they just started unit 3. So they've been dealing with unit rate for about 7-8 days total. Okay, so it's gonna be very accelerated because you guys, one of the most important standards is expressions and equations that you have to learn the foundations in 6th grade in order to be able to be successful in 7th grade. So we're gonna spend a lot more time on it than we're supposed to. Just because, like, if nothing else that you remember this year, I need you to remember formulas for geometry and expressions and equations. Okay?
Okay.
Alright, so you should have this done when we pass out our foldable for today. We're gonna do this today. You're gonna need a highlighter. So this is not gonna use highlighter marker or colored pencil, whatever you have. Doesn't require us to talk. I don't know. If there's an extra one, just put it to the side. Alright, so the first thing you have to do, and you're just going to share scissors because honestly it's not going to be that hard. You are going to have to just trim the outside of this. Now it's very important that you trim with the word side up, because if you trim with this side up, you're going to cut off the information. So when you cut this, you need to cut it with this side facing up. Okay, and you're just cutting around the dotted line. So just around the outside, like I said, you guys can just borrow scissors from each other if you don't have your own. Cause it's very simple cutting, and this is the only cutting we're doing today. This does not require you to talk, just sit quietly if you're waiting for a pair of scissors. And then also you can go ahead and cut the 3 flaps here. Alright, so your foldable should ultimately look like where it's got the flaps cut, and you can open and close each one. Yeah, just on the dotted lines. All right, about 20 more seconds and we're gonna get started. If you haven't cut it out by the time we get started, you will have time at the end to cut it out, so don't worry about that necessarily. Alright, put your pencils down, or put your scissors down. Like I said, we're gonna go ahead and get started with this. You will have time at the end of the class to, get this cut out. Alright, so there are 3 different ways you can write a ratio. You can use a fraction, you can use the word form, and you can use the whole form. We're gonna talk about each one of those. The biggest thing that you guys are gonna see and use is the fraction form. But you have to remember, when we're talking about ratios, we're not talking about fractions. So you will not say your fraction AB, or AB, or 9/10. You'll say it A to B, or 9 to 10. So we have to make sure that while we're doing ratios and unit rate and all of that, we are not saying them as fractions, but we're saying them as ratios. So for your fraction form, that is the first one. You're simply gonna write A to B, and this fraction bar actually means the word 2. Alright, let's go ahead and flip this open. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna kind of do the steps to write it as fraction form, And we're gonna use the sample problem to do that. So we're gonna read the sample problem through one time, then we're gonna annotate, then we're gonna fill in the blanks. So it says a recipe for lemonade calls for 8 lemons for 6 cups of water. What is the ratio of lemons to water? So reading it again, it says a recipe for lemonade calls for 8 lemons and 6 cups of water. What's important in that question? Joseph?
8 lemons and 6 cups of water.
8 lemons, 6 cups of water. Alright, what is the ratio of lemons to cups of water?
4 to 6.
No.
4 to 3.
No, baby.
Oh,
We're annotating, we're not solving.
sorry. Lemons to water?
Okay, well, this is gonna be important, no, you're good. This is gonna be important because what you also need to understand is that order matters. So I want you to put a little star down here and write order matters. So please make sure that if it's one way in the information, but it's a different way in the problem, that you write it the way, not problem, sorry. It's a different way in the question, you write it that way. Alright, what else is important in this last sentence? Or last question? Yeah,
The word ratio.
ratio, because that is telling us what we're actually doing. Alright, so sliding over to the fill in the blank part. So it says write the ratio in words, identify what is being compared. So what 2 items or objects are we comparing? And make sure we put it in the correct order. Mason?
Lemons and water.
Right, so lemon's gonna go on top. And it's not just water, but it's cups of water. You must also keep your units with your ratios. That will come in super duper important when we get into unit rate. Alright, now it says write the corresponding numbers. So we have lemons here. We have cups of water here. So what number, raising your hand, goes with lemons?
8.
8. And what number goes with cups of water? Olivia? 6. Alright, so essentially our ratio is 8 to 6. And I need you to highlight this word never and make your highlight big, and then the rest of this just highlight it small. So it says never write a ratio as a mixed number. Why is that important? Why do we never write a ratio as a mixed number, Jack?
So you know it's a ratio and not a fraction?
Because it's a ratio and not a fraction. Alright, so we can simplify this because it's 8 to 6. Both of those numbers are even. What can we simplify 8 and 6 by?
4 to 3.
What can we simplify 8 and 6 by? Christian?
2.
Right, so I'm going to divide this by 2, and I'm going to divide this by 2. Alright, so that is essentially ratios in a nutshell using a fraction box. You guys have seen this before. If nothing else, you saw it for the first time last week. So, alright, thumbs up when you're done with this information. I don't want to move too fast, but I want to make sure we're moving. Okay, close the top flap and let's look at the next one. Alright, so this one is going to be the colon form. And using the same thing, it's A to B. And making sure that we understand that the colon means the word to. I go ahead and open that flap up. So going to be the same process of we're reading the question, annotating the question, and then doing the process. So it says the center forward on the soccer team scores 3 goals and misses 6 shots. What is the ratio of goals to total shots? Alright, so going through it again, it says the center forward on a soccer team scores 3 goals and misses 6 shots. What's important in that question? Caleb?
Scored 3 goals and missed 6 shots.
Okay. Alright, and then in the next question it says, what is the ratio of goals to total shots? So what's important in this one? Jackson?
The ratio of goals and total shots. Total shots.
Alright, so this one to me is a little bit different than the first one we did.
Yeah.
Why is this different? Michaela?
Because instead of going to the other number, they go to how much all of it is.
Right, so what do we actually have to do with those two numbers to find our total? We're gonna have to add them up. So taking a quick step before we jump over here, we're gonna do 6 plus 3, which is 9. Now, is there anybody who doesn't understand why we did that? So,
Oh.
are you sure? Because I'm okay to explain it. Okay, so the reason that you have to add the 3 goals and the 6 shots is because your question is asking you, what is the ratio of goals? So we know what the goals are, right? 3. 2 total shots. Well, the 6 is representing what? The missed shots, right? So we're not going to use the 6. We're actually going to have to find the total amount between the 3 goals and the 6 shots. So that's why you have to add them together. So anytime it's asking you total or most or whatever, you're going to add those together. Or if it gives you the total and one of the parts, you're going to actually end up subtracting. Okay? All right. So now we have our total, and you can just write total next to it so you know what that number stands for. So then it says write the ratio in fraction form. Be sure to simplify. So the first thing that we're going to write on the top line is that the numbers on top are going to equal our goals. And then the second, or the bottom number, is the total shots. Why did we put goals on top, shots on the bottom? Or total shots on the bottom, let me say it that way. Why do we do that? Brock?
Because it says in the question, what is the ratio of goals to shots? So
Right.
it means that goals to shots.
Perfect. All right, so then the number of goals, raise your hand and tell me, what's the number of goals? Jack? 3. What is the total number of shots altogether? River? Okay, and then we're simplifying here, so I can go into both 3 and 9. Alexa? So I'm going to divide by 3 here, divide by 3 here, 1 to 3. So my ratio of goals to shots would be 1 to 3. All right, please, in step number 2, it says write the ratio with a colon instead of a fraction bar. The numerator goes to the left and the denominator goes to the right. So please make sure you always remember that. The number on top goes to the left, number on bottom goes to the right. Questions about this one? All right, so I have a question. Before we go any further, what would the ratio of girls to boys be in our classroom? How would we figure that out? Christian?
So we need to find out how many girls there are and how many boys there are.
Okay, so very briefly, quickly, girls, let's raise our hand. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If we can't be serious, that's fine. We just won't go outside today. It's really that easy. So again, girls, raise your hand. So 12. There are 12 girls in our class. Boys, raise your hand. So there are 20 boys in our class. All right. That is a real world ratio. All right. We could do tables to chairs. We could do cell phones to not having cell phones. I mean, there's so many different things you can do. But you need to make sure that you understand how to say a ratio. So for this ratio right here, I would say there are 12 girls for every 20 boys in our math class. Okay, you could say the ratio of girls to boys is 12 to 20, or the ratio of boys to girls is 20 to 12.
I found the for chairs and tables.
Okay. What is it?
34 to 8. Because we have 4 people at 8 tables each. And that's 32. And then we have 2 extra people, which is 34. And then there's 8 people.
Essentially, you would be correct, but we have one that I had to take away. But yes, you're right. So it's the number of chairs to the number of tables, which is fine. And the reason I'm saying this is because you are going to have to, this is part of your pull-out. So you are going to be given a situation and you have to write the ratio. You have to write a sentence about it. So do not just do 1:3. You're gonna get a 0. You actually have to write a sentence. I know that's super difficult for us, like so hard, asking way a lot. But I need you to, I'm being facetious. That means it was a joke.
It's only one sentence.
We're not joking on Fridays. Okay, cool. Let's keep it moving then.
All
All right, last one.
That's why
Last
I raised my
one.
hand.
So this is word form. And it's obviously word form because you see what? You see the word 2. All right, so it's going to be A to B. Guys, go ahead and open up your flap. So again, we're going to read through the question and then we're going to fill out the right side. So it says the table below shows the number of students in each club at a local middle school. Find the ratio of drama club members to music club members. All right, so again, let's read it. And we're going to annotate. The table below shows the number of students in each club at a local middle school. Find the ratio of drama club members to music club members. All right, so what's important here? Brock.
Ratio, drama club members to music club.
Okay. Why is nothing else in this information important to us? Kayla.
Because it's just saying, like, that the table below shows what we need to look at, so we don't really need to highlight that since it's telling us to look at this, or like just to look at the graph.
Okay. Because it's not important. Pretty much.
Just a snack.
All right. Now, we do have to be careful though because is it asking for a specific grade or is it asking for all students in that club? Jeremiah. All of them. So we are going to highlight our drama club. So we're going to highlight these 3 numbers. And then for our music club, we're going to highlight those 3 numbers. So what is 3 plus 4 plus 5? Raise your hand. 3 plus 4 plus 5. Haley?
12.
Sorry. I'll now enunciate the letter. But yes, you guys are correct. So it is 12. Why do we add those up? Raise your hand and tell me. Why do we add those? Kaylee.
Because it's not asking for a specific grade.
It's not asking for that specific grade, but more than anything, it's asking you for the entire club. So we have to do the same thing down here. Raise your hand and tell me what is the total number of music club people generally?
9.
What was it?
9.
Yes. All right, sliding over here. Again, you'll notice writing your ratio in fraction form is how we're going to solve almost every problem. So we are doing drama club to music club. All right, so we have 12 to 9. And then we're simplifying 12 to 9, so what can go into both 12 and 9? Jeremiah?
3.
I'm going to divide the top by 3 and divide the bottom by 3. 12 divided by 3 is 4, 9 divided by 3 is 3. And again, with the same information, the numerator goes on the left, the denominator goes on the right. Or you can come and get this so you can. All right. Bless you. you can go ahead and glue this in on the left side for where it says Unit 2, Lesson 1, ratio language. You're just gonna glue it in up and down. Like you don't have to fold it or anything. So it should look like this. So you're obviously gonna cover up your title a little bit, but it should fit in there with no problem whatsoever.
Do you want me to do this one or do it on this one?
You're copying the information from the one I gave you onto that one. All right. So at this moment, I know some of you guys are finished cutting out your foldable and everything, and that's fine. But I need you to stop and put everything down. You're turning the page. And you need to title this Ratio Practice Problems. And today's date, which is 11/4, because this is what you're going to be doing after your cool down. You are going to, once you're done with your cool down, not before, but once you're done with it. So I'm about to give you this bright piece of paper, you're gonna cool down, throw it in third period, not throw it, but put it into third period then, and then you're gonna log on to Canvas and you're gonna go to the ratio task cards. All right, it says they will be completed in your notebook. That is the page that we just made. It says you will be picking 15. Okay, it's not telling you you must do 15 in a row. It's not telling you you have to do all of them. It's not telling you it has to be in order. What it's telling you is you're picking 15 of them. Doesn't matter which 15. Okay? When you click on this, it's going to produce task cards. And they are in a variety of, I think I picked the wrong number for you guys to do. Hold on. All right, no. So essentially there's a lot of different types. So starting with the first one is explain it. So it legit, number one, explain it says, explain the difference between a ratio and a fraction. We spoke about that today, okay? That's one you can answer. Then if you're like, nope, 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 and you go down to explain it, number 8, explain how 1 to 2 is not the same as 2 to 1. All right, so you're jumping around, you're answering whichever ones you want to answer. The explain it ones are a little bit easier than some of the other ones. But again, going down to the sketch it, says draw a picture that represents a ratio of 4 to 3. So how would you do that?
4 lemons to 3 cups of water.
But it says draw a picture.
Yeah, you put 4 lemons.
So just 4 circles.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
4
then
circles.
And then-
like a cup
Like
with
little-
dashes and.
You get too technical.
You could
Like
just draw 3
circles or
circles.
rectangles?
Sorry.
4 circles. Where's squares? Okay? Like, again, it doesn't have to be crazy in depth. It can be as detailed as you want, or it can be that. Then it says, there's a couple different ones on here. Then you have the equivalent ratio table. We haven't technically talked about equivalent ratios, but it's just like an equivalent fraction. So if you want to give that one a go, go ahead. Then the do it. These are actually where you're solving a little bit more in-depth problems. So for example, do it number 1 says at the 6th grade dance, there are 110 boys, 90 girls, 15 adults. What is the ratio of girls to boys? What is the ratio of adults to boys? And what is the ratio of students to adults? Okay, so it's a little bit more in depth. Not saying that it's necessarily harder, but it's just a little bit more. So that is what you're doing after your cool down. 15. All right, any questions? The last thing I'm going to tell you is when you are doing your answers in here, I just need you to write, if you're doing the sketch it number 3, I just need you to label it like that, because you'll notice there's repeat numbers. There's 1 through 8, 1 through 8, 1 through 8. Or whatever, I think. And I'm gonna change it, you pick 10. Pick 10. Don't make me regret it. Alright, so instead of picking 15, I want you to pick 10 instead of those 15. You need to show all of your work. You need to, if you're struggling or you're stuck on something, come and ask for help. I will definitely help you. Any questions with what you're doing for the remainder of today? Alright, so let me get your cool downs are first. I'm also going to be calling you guys up to pass out cool downs that I've been holding on to for like 3 weeks or something. Oh, not really that long, but. I'll look when I get that passing out. It's because I haven't published it yet, because you shouldn't be on it yet. So nobody should have an iPad open, because the directions were cool down first, then the problem. So those of you tell me, oh, it's not up there, it's not that. No, I ain't trying to hear you.